Hey guys, welcome to a special midweek episode of our Money Spaces. Of course, we are always talking about money, the economy, and personal finance, and we're talking wages, right? The minimum wage in Nigeria. Of course, what's going on is that the Nigerian Labour Congress and the Federation, let's put it out with the Federation, are negotiating a brand new minimum wage for Nigeria. As we know, Nigeria's minimum wage is about 30,000. Hold up, guys. It's about 30,000 naira. If you convert that to dollars, don't even try to convert that. That's really, really low. So, of course, the wage has got to go up. The problem is this: the Labour Congress is asking for, I think last time I saw the number, about 400 and something thousand. Let's just call it 400,000, which is about $286 or something like that. Yeah, that's what they're asking for. The federal government, I understand, has given them 60,000. I'm hearing 90,000 that they're offering to the Nigerian Labour Congress to call up the strike, and that becomes the minimum wage in Nigeria. So I think it's just a good idea to talk about minimum wage in general, how it affects you, and how, of course, it's going to affect Nigeria. And if Labour is right to request for the minimum wage, and how perhaps can we get out of this conundrum that we find ourselves with the federal government and Labour. So just first things first, minimum wage just means what it says, minimum wage. That means that you cannot, as an employer, pay below that wage. You can pay more, but you can't pay below. In Nigeria and mostly all regions, minimum wage is usually a federal wage, but states can take on that wage and increase it. Like in the United States, minimum wage is $7.25 an hour. Many states pay 15, but you just can't go below 7.25 in Nigeria. So in Nigeria, the same thing. It's a federal system. So 30,000 is paid by federal, states, even local government areas. So that's just the background to it. Now, you have to agree somewhat with Labour's stance. Inflation is 33%. Food inflation is 40%. The economy has really, really collapsed. If you had $1 million, say in the year 1999, it's worth not $1 million naira today. It's really gone down in purchasing power. So Labour's point is very, very simple. As the purchasing power has gone down, we want to get an increase in our wages that can allow us to even live. We're not looking for luxury, we just want to live. So 400,000 they feel would compensate for the loss of income already, and would also allow them to hedge against the inflation that would occur. That's how I see what they are doing. They're like, hey, yes, we want to get paid now, but we also think inflation is going to go up in the future. So let's get all this 400K in now and sit on it, right? The problem is that the federal government is saying they cannot pay 400,000. And this is a unique situation where both sides are correct. Labour is correct, they need a pay increase, and the federal government is actually correct that they cannot pay 400. As a matter of fact, I did some numbers. I doubt the federal government can pay even 100,000. The problem is this: the federal government has been a very, very bad manager, not just of money, but of their image. The federal government's image has been dented by the way it has carried its business, the way it speaks, even the way the National Assembly has carried itself. They have damaged the federation. When I say the federation, I mean the federal, state, and local government areas. How they come across is that they are uncaring, that they are only interested in themselves, and that they do not want the workers to, should we say, have a living wage. The National Assembly imported cars for themselves, SUVs, imported these cars. And when they were asked why, they said because the roads are bad. Okay, why don't you buy Nigerian SUVs? Oh, because the foreign ones are better. So the National Assembly could import cars and spend dollars. But the National Assembly is now asking the workers to understand the situation on ground, that they cannot fund 400,000 for the workers. Again, like I said, both sides are correct. The National Assembly is correct, they cannot pay 400,000, but the workers are also correct. They need not just the living wage, but the wage that is indexed for inflation going forward. But the National Assembly, the federal government, have run the economy and the optics in such a manner that they are no longer, should we say, arbitrage. They do not have the equity to ask anyone to cut costs because they haven't cut costs. And I think that's what the negotiations are breaking down. If the administration, these guys we have today, Mr. Tinubu, had come into power and on day one, he had run an austerity budget. He had cut down frivolities. He had not bought SUVs or yachts. He had essentially just ran the things the way, very, very lean. I doubt that he would have seen a situation where today the Labour guys would have been asking for 400,000. Even if they had asked, he would have told them, you see, I've cut down my expenses. I'm implementing the Oransayan report. I don't think I'm able to pay you guys 400,000, and they would have negotiated. But because he hasn't managed that relationship perfectly, I think that's what's holding him back. So I won't talk about the figures more, but I want to hear from you guys. What do you guys think? The title says, how much should we pay? 400K, 100K, and all that. I also have my idea on how I think we can break the impasse. But let me just say, by the numbers, just the numbers alone, I don't think the federal government can afford 100, and I know no state, including Lagos, can afford 100,000 minimum wage to pay. The idea is not that they afford to pay today. It's the sustainability of paying that. It's not the wage, it's the economy. The economy has got to support the wage. The wage cannot be artificial. What I mean is this. You can't have a shop where you are selling pure water and then you are paying your manager that is selling you pure water 1 million naira because you want your manager to have a living wage. No. You either get rid of the manager and you do it yourself, or you don't have you don't sell pure water. Maybe you sell champagne. You see the point I'm making? You can't sell pure water and pay the seller 1 million because the pure water business, the selling of pure water cannot carry a 1 million naira salary. It's not the salary that's the problem. It's what you are selling, pure water. So it's not the wage that's the problem. It's the Nigerian economy that's the problem. S3, you're the first guest. Hop in real quick. What's your take on this, S3? Like I said, we all support the NLC to get this increase. But what's your take really? Do you think, what number is on your head, and do you think we can afford it? Go ahead. S3 is not there. So let me go to my DMs. Kalu, I disagree with you. I think Nigeria can pay 100,000 and they can even pay 400,000. They simply have got to cut down on the waste that we are seeing, and that's what really you are saying, that if Nigeria cuts down on the waste. Hey guys, can you hear me? Just thumb up if you can hear me. I think I was muted. S3, can you hear me?